Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Also below this video you can get £50 for swapping your UK electricity supplier to Octopus Energy. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Neil Arwin, joining right in the middle of my introduction, of course, and a whole bunch of people on Discord, so welcome one and all.
Morning, morning.
Hello.
Hey, good morning. Happy birthday, Nathan.
Yeah, sorry, Nathan.
Hey, good afternoon. Happy birthday, Nathan.
Thank you. If you're watching live, yes, it's my birthday today. Hence the thumbnail that Adam produced. Hope you like the thumbnail. Thank you very much for producing that, Adam. It saves me making one. Excellent stuff.
How are you?
I'm very well. As I say, typically once the live show's over, I then scramble for the next 15 minutes after the live show's going and the after show's running to get a thumbnail that I can use for the after show and use for the live show. And today I don't need to, which is nice, as it's my birthday. Happy days. You do a bit of housekeeping? Yay, we're really keen. Yeah. Oh, great.
You're 41 now, aren't you?
You need a radius for housekeeping.
We do need a radius for housekeeping, for the most part. Let's bash our way through it then, right? So, any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
You're going to need an off for that.
Feel free to join in Discord.
Only on the globe model.
Good answer. The geometric horizon does only exist in the maths, that is correct. About axial rotation of the Earth-based variety.
Sorry. I was going to say, then you only need a radius for a globe model.
Nobody claimed that spheres had a radius.
I don't need a radius value. Don't you? Yeah. If I'm on a sphere, yeah, you'll need a radius for that.
Or you could try, or you
that spheres have radius, Nathan. They never claimed that. Sorry.
No, you're right.
You could try and prove flat Earth. Flat Earth is debunked by coming on and saying you can prove it without the R value, like some people have tried to do.
Yeah, only to disclose that you're going to beg the question of a sphere and therefore require an R value within the first 5 seconds of speaking after declarations that you don't need R. Yeah, total fail. And then what, an hour of arguing about how you'll be utilising R to refract horizons with R that are derived from horizons that are physical to get R? Yeah, that's what happens when you debunk an R value. You'll be told you don't need it, only to spend an hour arguing about how they haven't got it. Any evidence of the R value? Earth radius.
Black Swan.
You need a sphere for that.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
You're going to need a radius for that.
What?
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
You're gonna need a radius for that?
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
You're definitely gonna need a radius for that.
Can't get around that one, that's for sure.
Okay, well.
You cannot get around without an R.
Round, round, get around, I get around.
to get around something, you would need a radius for that.
It was a little pun.
What about any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Well, even if you have a radius for that, that's still gonna not work. So
Now you're gonna need a radius for that as well.
you do? How?
Yeah, sphere air.
How do you
Atmosphere.
need a
radius.
Nobody
for
mentioned.
gas
I was
pressure
waiting for that.
without a
Sorry, you fell into that trap. Nobody mentioned atmosphere, though, did they?
Exactly.
For
What do you mean? It would have to be.
We covered. I didn't cover this yesterday because we were going to dig into it with the any viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. Feel free to check out what show number is it today? I've lost track. I don't know. I think I probably put the wrong number on today's show. Oh well, I'll adjust that later.
1471 today, I believe.
Check out 1470 if you want to hear the reasons why you can't just respond. You'll need an R when asked if there's any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics. And further to that, you can't just say they'll need an R for that answer either. There's a good chance they'll need an R for that answer, but I don't think you can leave it as open-ended. But that was yesterday. Today is today. Gas pressure without a container. No mention of atmosphere, just a request to show gas that presses, not pressing.
I have an alternative formulation potentially, although gas pressure without a container is still better. But I like to ask in chats sometimes, show me gas in a sphere shape without a sphere-shaped container.
Perfect. Yeah, I asked the same thing. Yeah, show me sphere-shaped air. It's an oxymoron. Air
But
isn't
without a
sphere-shaped.
sphere-shaped container.
Well, air isn't
Right?
sphere-shaped. You're right, Arwin. To have a sphere, to have gas in the shape of a sphere, it'll be in a sphere-shaped container, like a balloon. That's how you have sphere-shaped air. But it's in a container. So to say atmosphere, what's that? Well, it's air that just arbitrarily takes the shape of a sphere in violation of natural law in a vacuum. You go, no. It takes the shape of its container, therefore it's an oxymoron to assert a shape when talking about gas. Gas has no inherent shape.
That wouldn't work anyway because
Indeed.
they say we're in an open system. And if you had a sphere-shaped container, you wouldn't be an open system.
Right, but they don't. They say atmosphere, just arbitrarily taking the shape of a sphere. That's what atmosphere, atmo, air, sphere, fundamentalist religious presupposition. But standing directly in violation of natural law. Gas isn't expanding out to fill the space. It's arbitrarily taking a sphere shape when gases have no inherent shape. Oxymoron, atmosphere.
Yeah, when your position is fallacious, there's like 20 different ways one can destroy it.
Indeedy weedy. Shout out to Paula, Level Up, formerly Bible literalist. He says, please sir, I want some R. Oliver Twisted. Love it.
Great one.
Thank you for the super chat, Paul. I really appreciate the support. Paula's actually one of my mods. Not often the mods give you super chats, but thank you, Paula. I really do appreciate it all the same. So that's it. That wraps out the housekeeping. Essentially, for the most part, 75% say of the questions can be answered with "you'll need R" for that.
How about any viable hypothesis from astrophysics? Except you do it.
We covered that
remember
yesterday.
the- What?
That's what we covered yesterday.
So we're not covering that today?
Well, I've mentioned that the question's been asked and that you can't just answer you need R for that. You can say there's a good chance you'll need R for that. In other words, should they come back with a hypothesis, highly unlikely, then there's a 99% chance that they're going to have R in it as a presupposition.
Yes. Well, if it's actually going to be in their supposed field, right? Then definitely.
The way I see it is the disciplines themselves, they need R in order to work.
Yeah, it's a fair statement. But when we ask for a hypothesis, we can't just say you'll need R or they'll need R for that, because they might not. There's a chance. It's not like every single claim to be globe proof will always start with the presupposition that you're on a sphere. That is 100% true. But in terms of whether or not an astrophysicist could come up with a viable hypothesis at all is unlikely. But if they did, they wouldn't necessarily have to have R in that hypothesis. So you can't just say, oh, they will need R for that, because they might not. So yeah, it's just a bit of Weasley wordage, and it's not necessary anyway. You're opening up somebody to say, yeah, I've got science, and then you hear their science. Chances are it'll have R in it, and you can point that out when they do.
Just a quick definition from Wikipedia. Astrophysics is a science that employs the methods and principles of physics in the study of astronomical objects and phenomena.
Is that all of them? Is that every housekeeping question so far? I believe it is. Well, that concludes housekeeping.
Yeah, it goes by quick when the answer is you need R for that.
It does indeed. I've got no issue with that, because there's been a few times that you don't even get to do housekeeping once you've got past the first question. But from here on in, the moment somebody says you'll need R for that, I'm moving on.
No, I like it because we got into the habit of rehashing the reasons why, rather than just saying that and then waiting for an anti-flat earther or a baller to come and defend their R that doesn't exist.
Exactly. I've got no issue with people drawing a close to any of the housekeeping questions, with the couple of exceptions we've just detailed over the last couple of days, with you're going to need R for that. But just be aware that I'm talking to you three, really, on the panel more than anybody else, that does actually bring a close to that particular conversation. So if someone's keen to talk about one of the fundamentalist religious assertions that we've got gravity for the sake of argument, and that's looking to be discussed by, I don't know, whoever, Anthony Riley, most likely, don't just cut it off by saying you'll need R for that. But hold on, he might want to actually talk about how somebody's begged the question as an interesting anecdote.
Well, it's amazing that the anti-flat earthers and the ballers themselves don't come and debate the question, because they're the one that's needing it. And if they're on the show and they don't pipe in, but just stay in chat, that tells you they have nothing to offer.
Nathan, a question. Question on gravity.
I'm not really the expert on gravity, but feel free.
Now, just when you're obviously talking to ballers or anti-globers or whatever, anti-flat earthers, they always mention gravity. That's the cause. They got the evidence behind it, 95%. So that's what they believe in. Would you agree with that?
Would I agree that they all claim gravity? Sure.
Yeah, they claim gravity for most of the things. Why can't they claim it if the evidence is 95% near enough?
Sorry, what's the phenomena? Were you here yesterday? When
I'm just saying, when they claim it, they claim it's 95%. They've got the evidence behind it. So there you go. There's gravity.
Well, hold on. You've not given
What
any.
would be your response to that?
What's the evidence? Is my response to that.
That's things falling.
I'd let go of a helium balloon. Gas expands in all directions. No.
Well, when I say that, when I put that across to them, they just say, yeah, it's gravity.
What? Going down 9.8 meters per second when
yeah,
gas
that's
expands.
what they say. Yeah, exactly that.
Right, but gas isn't doing that, is it? It's expanding in all directions.
And that's what I say to them. But they just say, no, it's gravity. We've got the evidence behind it. It's 95% correct. It's the theory. That's it. It's gravity.
Okay, well, you being stonewalled when you debunk something, I can't help you with. Yeah,
okay.
If you've watched the show, a solid hour can be spent on someone stonewalling a rebuttal that has demolished their claim, and then rather than conceding their claim, they repeat their claim. Or take the response and turn it into part of their claim that you've made because you've debunked their claim. So they say gravity is down 9.8 meters per second squared. Everything goes down. You give them an example of something going up, and they'll go, that's gravity too. Like you've told me, right?
Yeah, correct. And then we got onto a conversation about a slinky. So when you hold a slinky in your hand and you let go, where does it fall from? It falls from the top all the way down, correct?
Not exactly. If you let go of a slinky, it'll compress itself, I
Yeah.
think, in both directions,
Yeah.
which, if you were filming it, makes it look like the bottom is static as the top of the spring recoils back to its original rest position, and once it's there, it then drops to the ground.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
So it looks like it's suspended in the air after being dropped.
Yeah, and it's not pulling from the bottom either, is it?
No, but regardless of what a slinky does, gravity, if you're asserting centre of M1 Earth is going to attract the mass of other masses, well, gas has mass and it's not doing that. So you don't need to get into... I mean, fine, yeah, talk about the slinky, but, you know, you can just show something with mass not doing that, and that's the end of the conversation. I know it's not the end of the conversation for an anti-flat earther, because they still want it to be real.
Yeah, it never is. It never is. It just keep going on and on.
So we're descending to slinkies now. Slinkies. Great.
Well, I'm saying no. I'm saying no. You just use gas, which expands to fill the volume. Not down, go boom boom. 9.8 meters per second squared. Gas is not falling down, go boom boom like bouncy balls, is it?
No, not at all.
Right. So therefore,
I'm just going to stick to gases.
Sure, but that force that they describe, so Earth has got a force that's pulling other masses towards it because it's such a big mass. Yeah, that's bollocks. So immediately refuted by showing stuff with mass, that would be gas, not moving to the centre of Earth. Moving away from it, expanding out, away. So that's the end of that.
Their answer to that is that it's not as strong. It's a weaker force, but it is a force.
Yeah, it's not a force at all. So that's superseded 106 years ago by Einsteinian bending pseudo-Ramonian force space-time. And that's an effect, according to them, caused by the uneven distribution of mass in pseudo-force space. So it's no longer a force at all.
May I ask this gentleman a question?
They would keep on saying it is a force.
Hang on, let me ask you a question.
Hold on, 10th, hold on. Yes, so their response is, but it's still a force. But unicorns are still real, is their response.
Pretty much.
Right, you can't help, that's called chanting. So they chant, gravity's a force, gravity's a force, gravity's a force, gravity's a force. Yeah, that's called chanting.
When they said to you it's a weaker force, what were they ascribing that weaker force to?
So they were saying like it still acts on the gas, but it's just a weaker force, and it pulls it slowly. If that makes sense.
Okay, so this gravity that's strong enough to hold oceans has like a fader switch on the light box that when it comes to gases, it goes down to where it becomes a weaker force because it's not pulling the water, trillions and trillions of gallons of water.
Forget about all that. You need a radius. Where's the radius for this gravity?
Hang on, we know that. We're discussing it within the begging the question here. So when they say that, it's like gravity to hold the oceans down would have to be so strong that it would affect you and me. We wouldn't be able to lift our feet.
Well, you say that to them, and they just hand wave it, dismiss it, and just go back to it's gravity. It's madness.
Yeah,
absolute madness.
No, that's why you say next. Thank you, Neil.
Perfect. Thanks.
When you get to or point out that they're chanting, rinse and repeat is just chanting. Say it over and over and over again. Ignore all responses. That's zealotry. But yeah, I can't help you with chanting from fundamentalist religious zealots. Just at that point, recognise what you're dealing with. You're dealing with an anti-flat earther. They want to argue with you round and round in circles about how gravity's a force and convince you that it is when you've got their own side, their own astrophysicists, making it absolutely explicitly clear that it's not a force. But they need it to be a force, don't they? Why? Well, because without it being a force, go down, go boom, boom, 9.8 meters per second, they can't hold gas here. And when you go, gas isn't going down, though, is it? They go, yeah, it is. It's still held by a force. What, the force of down 9.8 meters per second towards the centre of M1? Number one, as Neil's pointed out, you'll need a radius for that. And number two, gas isn't doing that. So saying, well, it is still doing it. No, it literally isn't. It's moving away from the mass of Earth. Because it comes out of the ground and then goes up. Shout out to Udada, Yudada. He says, in a full bus, the centre of gravity in the stomach of the fattest person. What? In a full bus, the centre of gravity is in the stomach of the fullest or fattest person. Okay. Thank you very much for the super chat, you dada. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. I didn't really understand what you were talking about. So it was definitely a fat joke in there.
I can't stomach it, though.
I'm deeply offended. It's 25% fat.
I'm trying to get Vic DiBitetto in here.
Who?
His name is Vic DiBitetto. He's a comedian. Lives in New Jersey, but he thinks he's got this great knowledge of why the Earth is not flat. So I'm inviting him. So maybe we'll get lucky one day and he'll come on.
Oh,
must be joking.
What a character.
Good, because if he's a comedian, he's going to be a globe believer first and foremost, right? And probably, hopefully, a good laugh to chat to, as opposed to a fundamentalist religious zealot
correct.
chanting their shit over and over again.
No, he will definitely be fun. He just takes, what we all learned in school, How could the Earth be flat if we have eclipses and, things like that?
Perfect. Yeah, he's a glober. A proper, true glober, then.
Still gonna need R to be a comedian on the globe.
On a globe, yeah. That's true. So, Neil's basically figured out, because he's been told that the R, asking for R is the end to almost all arguments, right? So he's like that guy in the prison with the little shank that knows that, well, I can end all of these arguments. Just go knife the guy in the back.
Why even bother?
Yeah, Neil's carrying the R shank around. It's rusty, it's covered in blood. And he's happy to use it.
Well, it cuts through all the nonsense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a shame Chocolate or some of the gamers aren't here to give us a nice parallel with some super force in some game. Any gamers in the Discord server? Clearly not. I'm sure there's some gamers that will leave me some comments saying, oh yeah, there's this character that's got this superpower and it just basically puts an end to the battle on the spot.
Righteous plays games.
He's not in the... He's actually in the queue, presumably doing something. I don't know what he does. I don't know how Discord works.
He's playing a game, Nathan.
Probably playing a game, yes. But he's in the queue. He's not in the actual stream, so he can't hear you.
Oh, it was good to hear from Sleeping Warrior yesterday.
I hear from Sleeping Warrior almost every day.
Oh, you're privileged.
I am. I do feel that way when he phones. Or I phone him. It's typically to talk about something fairly mundane. So today he was very proud that he'd painted a handle, like a door handle. So he wanted to let me know. We talked about that for about 10 minutes. I was very proud of him.
Wait
he
a
was proud of
second.
himself.
So you have like a neighbor relation type thing going.
Time out. What was he? He painted a doorknob?
Yeah. Well, he didn't just paint it, Neil. I mean, he had to remove it, sand it, he got the wire wool on it, he got his rotary sander on it, he even bought a new tool for when he does the next one or the hinges. You know, this is important stuff we had to talk about.
I guess that would be like me doing his egg experiment. I would be all excited about that.
No, it's more like he's restoring a house, a mobile home, and he's fixing different parts. He put a deck on it. Now he took something that was in bad shape and cleaned it up, and he's showing his restoration work. That's all. It's like someone working on their car and saying, "Look what I did. It used to look like this. This is what it looks like now."
He does that
Nathan
too.
did that.
Exactly.
Nathan did that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time, but it's just a doorknob. I mean, give me a wall, a doorknob, going into like another area, and then I'd be like, wow, nice.
Really,
Yeah,
Neil? You can't handle this?
Look, if the unions can't get involved, Neil's not interested. Another shout out to you, Dada. He just gives me money. Thank you very much. He or she, don't know, but thank you very much. Everyone's off mute in Discord. Hopefully we'll get some chit-chat out of people, although it looks like it's full of flat earthers at the moment.
Well, yeah, I mean, the black swan has killed them so bad, they don't show up anymore because they know what they're going to get here. So they go to the other shows that tolerate the begging the question and the endless repetition of fallacies. I mean, all they got to do is come here and show us R, and we'll change our mind, right?
Yeah, they allowed Narnia and other places.
Yeah. But at least we're honest. If you can show us Earth curvature that matches the 3959, which is the black swan mode of Stollens, then we can be ballers like you.
Yeah, that's not possible though, is it? Given that we've demonstrated beyond all certitude that the horizon's not a physical limitation, they can't ever go back and correlate the horizon with Earth curve again. That's not a possibility anymore. So where are they going to get it from?
Well, the high priest says that it's flat. That stuff is flat. Well, it's not supposed to be. We're supposed to see curvature.
Okay, there might be some newbies in the audience that don't recognise what we're talking about. So if you're, as I say, new to this subject and a globe-believing normie, there's nothing wrong with that. Then you are under the misapprehension that the horizon, if you look out at a beach, is Earth curve, a physical limitation to your view based on the leading edge of the sphere obstructing things behind it. Well, that is false. We've debunked it. If it was a physical limitation to your view, the leading edge of a sphere from which you could not see behind, then it would have those geometric limitations all the time. Furthermore, that geometric limitation that it is claimed to be when you assume that it's a limitation to your view when you look out at the horizon is where they derive the R value from to make the assertion in the curve mathematics. Ergo, you can't then move that position. It has to be set in stone, a la your radius value, on a rock would be, not is, literally stone, set in stone, because it's a rock. So you're not going to have it physically changing one day to the next. So when you show the horizon beyond its physical geometric limitations, it's no longer capable of derivation of the R value. You can't measure it. It's not a physical place to measure. Just a quick shout out to Udada again. How the molecules decide where the centre of gravity is in a full bus. What's with buses? It is in the stomach of the fattest person. Thank you for the further super chat to bring clarity to your fat joke. How the molecules decide where... Go on, whoever.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was... After your super chat, I want to add something.
No, I'm reading it for the second time because I can't decipher it. It's a fat joke in there about molecules and gravity. I'm just not making it humorous, and I'm reading it terribly. But really appreciate the support, you Dada. Thank you very much indeed. I'm sure somebody's got clarity or will give it to your super chat, I'm sure.
While you guys are on the new guys topic and like how the new guys perceive things, because I remember yesterday we were like at a gathering somewhere on another Discord, and how new guys, they have this interesting programming, like, you know, they can see the curve from an airplane, right? That the horizon is the curve also, even when you're on ground level, or that you can see the Earth curving from like pretty close to ground level, right? And because, you know, once they get into it and they look more into it, then they switch the position to no, you can't see the horizon curving from an airplane, right? Once they're not so new anymore. And it just kind of reminds me, like, I remember in high school, like a teacher saying to me, you can see the Earth curvature from like a tree. And for some reason, I don't know why I started buying it. I guess after a certain point, when you get to high school, you start buying a lot of things they say in school. And I kind of somehow incorporated that into like my memory, and that you can't see the curve from a tree. I remember the first time somebody mentioned FE, I was like, yeah, you can see it from a tree. As ridiculous as that sounds. So I just wanted to point this out because some of these ideas that are out there.
It is useful. Let me address it though. The first three things you listed, that would be seeing it from a tree, seeing it out of the horizon, whatever, I can't remember where you listed the second place, and then seeing it up at altitude from a plane, right? All three things are the same thing. So what you're saying is when people get into this, if I'm summarising incorrectly, just tell me, righteous. When they get into it, they go from saying, I can see Earth curve from the window of a plane, to then understanding that they can't. Well, the two things are the same. So they're being trained in doublespeak. You can't see the curve from a plane. No. Earth curves the horizon, and it doesn't matter where you can see the horizon from, it's claimed to be Earth curve. So from the ground, if you're at the beach, lying down at the beach, and you look out towards the horizon, that's Earth curve claimed to be your physical limitation to your view. That's what the horizon is in Earth curve religious belief. Therefore, going up in a plane and looking at the horizon is just you looking at Earth curve again. Now, the fact that it is an Earth curve means that you've quickly got to detract people away from the fact that, oh no, the limitation to your view that has this optical effect of wrapping around you 360 degrees, not dropping away on the edges, as a sphere would do if it was geometrically actually curving away from the window of an aeroplane. Well, that means that you can't see Earth curve. You're not high enough. You're like, what do you mean you're not high enough? The horizon is claimed to be Earth curve. You don't have to be more than an inch off the ground. So long as you can see it, that's you seeing it. But it isn't really Earth curve, is it? So they have to train you in doublespeak. We fall victim to it all the time. The horizon rises to eye level. No. The horizon is eye level. It's the limitation formed optically by the lens of your eye. And a camera or whatever else you view the horizon with. And it can vary based on the focal length and the size of the aperture and all the other things that go into making a lens. But those limitations have got nothing to do with geometry and a sphere being beneath your feet. But it doesn't change the fact that regardless of where you view it from, high or low, and it was now I'm saying this, chocolate, righteous, it was you that said to me the other day, oh, that really triggered something in me when you said, oh no, it's the same exact thing when you go up high and claim you can see the horizon. It's still Earth curve. It's the same thing, right? And you were like, oh yeah, that really resonated with me. But now you're saying that once you get into the back and forth of what flat Earth versus globe Earth leaves you believing, you suddenly go from a globe believer that's like looking at the horizon from a plane going, I can see Earth curve, to what I was as a globe believer, having looked into globe Earth and the rhetoric, thinking, no, I can't see Earth curve from this high. I've got to go higher. It's like, you're still looking at the horizon though, aren't you? Why would I tell myself that? Well, because I was already on the path to be trained in doublespeak, to correct people. Oh, you can't see Earth curve from a plane. It's too low. You need to get much higher to see Earth curve. It's like Earth curve's the horizon. If you can see it, you claim to be looking at Earth curve. Just isn't, is it?
Right.
Hello, Adam.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing when they taught you about Coriolis. They said it's water going down the drain. Different hemispheres, it goes the opposite way.
I remember that, Neil. First of all, happy birthday, Nathan.
Thank you very much for the thumbnail. Awesome.
I thought you needed one. Yeah. That was one of the first, Neil, seeing the South American bloke kind of take his little sink and move it one side of the equator and pour the water in, throw the leaf in and watch it spin one way and then do the reverse on the other side. And hopefully you not notice him pouring the water in the other way this time and then throw the leaf in and it spin the other way. That was one of the first things you looked at because they were one of the, when you were, well, just an old baller being introduced to flat earth, they're one of the things that you casually accept as one of these things. It's not something you want to inquire. It's just that those are things that happen. Otherwise, why would Australians go the other way? You know what I mean? So you have this myth put in you, and it is one of the things you accept, and then give yourself a big face palm when you realise you believe that nonsense.
Well, the problem with that particular description is that they describe it as Coriolis. Look, the Coriolis force, here's how it's visible and shows how it affects, this is akin to the hurricane example, but water going down a drain on the different sides of this arbitrary line derived from the movement of the sun. Yeah, you move this little dolly 3 inches this way and look, the water goes the other way. Well, Coriolis effect, which is what those demonstrations are labelled as, would only be observable if you were in the water swirling down the drain. So if you're in the water, basically that water with you swirling around in it becomes the non-inertial rotating frame of reference. Now obviously it relies for the effect to be a force that you wouldn't notice as you spinning around, would require you to look at a tree branch that's hanging over the top of that demonstration as you're swirling down the drain, look like it's coming towards you, when in fact you're swirling towards it in a whirlpool. Well, that's Coriolis effect if it's going to be described in that way. You've got to be part of a rotating platform turning beneath things to see them seem to drift. So the only way that's translatable is you swirling down that drain. So an ant might be able to experience the Coriolis deflection if it was swirling down that drain.
And on a lollipop stick rafting would it look like you was coming towards him and going away, coming towards and going away.
Exactly. Or for the ant, if it was spinning around in the whirlpool and you happen to throw a ball over the top of the sink, it would go, oh, look at that ball, it took a curved path. Yeah, it's not. It's you turning underneath it, Mr. Ant, in your whirlpool.
Nathan, let me interject a correction. You have today's show labeled as 1470, so I may have got it wrong. So
No,
yesterday's show would have been 1469.
No, it wasn't. Yesterday was definitely 1470. I just changed the number.
Okay, you got it.
Then I'll read out Retro Bill's super chat once I've done this. But yeah, as you say, Adam, what would compel anybody to get a really thorough understanding of Coriolis deflection? You just hear somebody say, oh, here we go, this happens on this side of the equator and this happens on the other side, and you go, oh, right, that's a fascinating demonstration.
Yeah, because you've got no reason at that. Certainly for me, at that point, I had no reason to think that's just so fake. Do you know what I mean? It's just presented there as that's what the world does, not something. I've witnessed the drain spin. I've never witnessed it in Australia to see if it was the opposite. But you don't. Back then, you don't expect people to be blatantly lying. You expect these things to be validatable, don't you? And have been validated. Not, it's just a tourist trick.
That's the problem. Right, exactly. Up until that point, the majority of people go about their general day-to-day lives under the misapprehension that most people are honest and good and not out to deceive them. That's why I kept talking about George Carling, because he keeps talking about how people, or did, bullshit, non-stop, all the time, right? And that goes all the way to the top. Piles, mountains, tirades of bullshit. And that's what we're dealing with, right? Now, if you come across the subject like Flat Earth and go, oh, hold on a second, you mean the entire nature of the reality we're supposed to be taking part in isn't as we're told on a daily basis? Oh my God, I wonder how much other bullshit there is. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, but that's quite scary to a lot of people because they're like, oh my God, what else is bullshit? Probably whatever it is you're thinking about right now that you were led to believe. Yeah, that's scary, isn't it? Not for me, but for you, certain type of person. Just read out Retro Bill super chat. Thank you very much indeed, Retro Bill, for the super chat. I was going to prove globe Earth without our yawn, but I'd rather wish you a happy birthday. Yawn. Thank you very much for the super chat, Retro Bill. That's a nod to a guest we had on a few days ago, that every time he was asked a really difficult question like, well, where'd you get the R value then? He'd go, oh, where do I get the R value? Oh, I'm suddenly really tired.
Yeah,
Very
I was
amusing.
laughing out loud at one of them
Say again?
when you first replied. I remember the first time you replied with a yawn. I was laughing out loud. It caught me off guard.
Well, I didn't react
Yeah,
at
that
first.
really annoyed me.
Well, that's the point. So 2 or 3 people latched onto it and started telling him off for being rude. It's like, that's the point. Let's get a few more people involved. They need this. That was a tactician, you know. Again, when I was like, you know all the arguments, you know all about my emails, you claim it's your first time here, yet essentially I'm hinting at the fact that he's clearly a tactician in this debate and is well versed and well studied in it. And he's like, I don't know what you're implying. Yeah, right.
I like your imitation though, and your skills, Nathan. That was very good. How you imitated him had me cracking up.
I'm a trained actor.
That's right.
You hear that, Pete? You hear that, Pete?
Pete knows. Doing something in your teenage years at college, and then suddenly, 30 years later, it's, ooh, really? Actor? Yeah, I was a bum. I might as well say I went to art school.
Well, we have a sleeping warrior on our side, and I've never heard him yawn.
I have. Many times. I was
Not
discussing...
in a debate, as a tactic.
Oh, no, most certainly not. No, but I've been privy to his snoring on a few occasions when Chris and Monk would be up to all sorts of hours modelling in Blender, and Anthony would be there. I'd be fascinated asking various questions and running models of simulations of heliocentrism, because it was fascinating to actually see it functioning as an actual model. But anyway, I digress. And you'd be discussing something and then you'd hear, I wonder what that noise was. Be Anthony's head hitting the desk with his mic open and then snoring. It'd be really funny.
He looks like a snorer.
To be fair though, I mean, he's just a normal guy. I'm a bit of an insomniac. So Chris and I, he was obviously on a different timetable in Canada.
Morning, guys.
I was about to say, did somebody just join? Hello, Chocolate.
Okay.
Yo.
We were just talking about you getting triggered by the guy yawning, and then, you know, it sounds really horrible. That's why I'm stuttering away over saying this, because I'm basically saying, look, you've fallen victim to a little ploy. You know, their ploy being, if I can get a few more people involved, it's easier to blame the audio chaos on others. And in fact, at one point, he even told you lot off. Which was very funny. I swore at him at the time, but deep down I was smiling.
Oh no, I was in the middle of telling so I just wanted to tell him just stop with the cornball snoring shit, like the yawning shit. Like what are you doing? I wasn't gonna focus on that. just stop being silly and respond to the questions being asked. Like I don't care about you yawning. That's just corny.
I was yawning all the time he was talking, but I had the manners to mute so it wouldn't be heard.
What do you mean?
Like how ridiculous is that? You already don't know your own arguments, and then you're gonna yawn in the middle of your own arguments that you don't know. Like what the hell? Ridiculous.
Well, that's what
Hey,
the Black
Nathan, we
Swan
gotta
did.
do-
That's the best they got. Is a yawner.
No, we gotta put the yawning and the drunken guys together and make a character.
Call him a freaking Snorlax.
Yeah, I want to focus on the almost came to fruition Battle of the Titans in terms of globe assertions that we turn underneath stuff to see drift and there's only one reference frame. There is no drift to observe. Earth doesn't turn underneath. I mean, while it was tongue-in-cheek to a certain extent yesterday with Kosho, I fully did not in any way anticipate that he would get in touch with Blue Marble Science and get him on the show, despite that's precisely what he said he would do. I didn't expect that to come to fruition, and it didn't. Nevertheless, the point remains the same. You know, we are genuinely impartial in that regard because we don't need reference frames, right? When I was 12, 18 months ago saying it to Simon Dan, we don't need reference frames, do we, Simon Dan? You do. Well, you? Wrong. He's an anti-flat earther, so he tells me that I don't understand reference frames, and we've only got one. That's what he does as an anti-flat earther. But I don't have any reference frames. That's the point here. But Blue Marble, same thing applies, and you can juxtapose it with whoever you like. Kosho, Neil deGrasse Tyson, any citation that's describing Earth turning beneath whatever they're describing it turn beneath. You know, they've got two different positions on the globe side. And as I pointed out to Kosho, that's not our problem. We're not claiming spin. We don't need reference frames. You are. You've got claims of spin in both instances, just with very different views about how that's not demonstrated with one reference frame, not observable with one reference frame, nothing to see here, one reference frame. That would be Blue Marble and Simon Dan. Or something to see here, drift, two reference frames. Thing travelling straight unless you're travelling underneath it on the second reference frame to cause deflection, Coriolis effect. Those two positions are mutually exclusive. You can't have both. And that's a problem for globe believers and anti-flat earthers who have contrasting views to one another. And I want to see them fight out.
So do I. Wait, you
Kosho
guys tell
says
me
that
Hurricane
there's
Kosho showed up here yesterday?
Say again, Chocolate.
Hurricane Kosho
Yes,
showed up
Hurricane
here
Kosho.
yesterday? Oh man, I missed it.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
those
he
watching.
says
on
that
the
there's
phone
an
with
infinite
Hillbilly.
number of reference frames and we're in all of them all at once.
Oh, that was just an obfuscation to get around the fact that I was asking him to confirm his actual claim of two reference frames, inertial and non-inertial. Eventually he did, but then he had to very quickly say, well, no infinite reference frames. It's like he doesn't remember that I went round those do-si-dos for about a year solid with Zanuck. Yeah, not my first rodeo.
Yeah, Zanuck was the second time. Kosho was around before Zanuck, so we had already drug him through the ringer before Zanuck showed up with his nonsense.
Kosho had to be reminded of the thought.co
Oh.
article.
You must have been like, damn it, Chocolate.
Said he didn't give us a citation. Said, I've never given you that. I've not given you any citation.
He
And
gave
very-
that directly to me. So
Yeah,
he could
that
stop
was
with
point.
this crap.
Exactly. That was pointed out to him, and then he said, oh, you mean the one I gave to Chocolate?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
He's just a liar.
These poor guys.
I have to have a word
Oh.
with QE, because he was sort of, going to say apologetic for him. So I'm like, you're an outright liar, and I'm sick of it now. People who come here and waste an hour not confessing to having two reference frames when they're claiming Earth turns beneath pendulums and Earth turns beneath wind. You know, those are two reference frames, but not being able to admit it because they know damn well that it's now been made explicitly clear by Blue Marble that he's claiming one reference frame. So that means he's got to dance around. Normally, that's tolerable until they start lying. I didn't give you a citation. Yeah, you did, you liar. I didn't say two reference frames. Where in my citation did it say two reference frames? That was discussed for about 20 minutes, only for him to later claim he didn't give us any citation. Liars.
Yeah, what was that all about?
Lying. It's just
I was-
lying. And I'm sick of it.
No, I was wondering about QE. He came in a few times and looked like he was trying to make an excuse for him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'll have to have a word with him and see what that was all about. I mean, after the fact, I was like, well, here's an example where he's just blatantly lying. And he didn't put up any resistance. He was like, yeah. But I haven't spoken to him since. Other than him asking me why I haven't mirrored something. As he does. certain videos that I get involved with and go, yeah, I like that. That's good. That, for example, the Blue Marble video, and I think it was MC Toon, or it might have been Slice Barcane. I can't remember. There's a whole bunch of them. But I might have said in passing at one time, "Oh, I'd like to mirror that." Now, when there's one that I've looked at in advance or got involved with in somehow, it's like, "You're going to mirror that?" I'm like, oh, I have to do the thumbnail during the after show because there's no other time to do it. I'm sure I'll work it in on my birthday for you, QE, because it's that important. If you're listening.
Is it your birthday today?
Yeah, was the subtle thumbnail not enough to let you know that?
I didn't see any thumbnail.
It says happy birthday on it. I put it on there.
Well, that's the
Go on.
That's the gravity of everything, right?
Gravity of what now? What's that?
Being your birthday. It's the gravity of being your birthday.
Yeah, it's not an important birthday, really. So, when Paula asked, not my wife, but Paula, Bible literalist now, Level Up, was like, what do you want to do? Because I was like, should I do a show? Should I work? It's my birthday. She's like, do the thing that you want to do. I was like, well, I want to do my show. I'll do my show. So here we are.
Now that's a good question because I need some clarity on birthdays. What is an important one besides your first birthday? I agree. I throw a big party for all my kids on their first birthday. What's the criteria after that? Do I have to go to a 40th birthday party? Really?
Marketing, presents, money, economy, spend money.
I don't know.
Well, no. I'm sorry. 50th, yeah.
If you're in the States, 21. If you're in Europe, 18. And then from then on, any whole number. 30, 40, 50.
I'm sorry. Sweet 16 for girls, yes. I agree with that.
About Sweet 16, maybe. But certainly 18.
Well, regardless, happy birthday, Nate.
18 here because you're officially adult. You've reached adulthood. You can do all the adult things. And in the States, I think there's certain things you can't do till you're 21, like drink in certain states. So for that reason, over in the States, 21 is celebrated in the way it's 18 here.
Look, there's the real reason that people celebrate it because they're giving honor to the person that was born so many years ago. And then there's the business side of it. I'm just sharing the business side of it. They want every birthday, every year going on because you got birthday cards, balloons, helium. They can sell a lot of things. Come on.
Okay.
I know we're heading towards 3 now, so just a little birthday miscellany. In the past, we've talked about films and stuff.
Stop. New word. Miscellany. What does that mean?
It's just like trivia. Fun facts, I think. That's how I would use it. I'll have to look it up now.
Miscellany is something interesting about the thing you're about to talk about.
Like miscellaneous.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It could be
Like gravity being natural law.
Miscellany meaning a group or collection of different items, a mixture. Yeah, that's where I used to get it from. The journal used to have Christmas miscellany, so it would just have a mixture of different facts. But
yeah,
this is
cool,
related to movies because I always said, "Oh, space films annoy me," unless they're really fantasy. Well, last night I watched Fast and the Furious 9. Which you may not think is a space film. I didn't think it was going to be. But there are a number of bits in it which I'd urge people to go and watch and just spot. First one's a bit where they basically bodged together a car to go to space to take a satellite out. The funniest one, what's his name? Roman. He's driving it. And basically they're in these homemade suits that the dodgy rocket scientists put together, and they're like diving suits reverse. So he's saying to him, don't worry, they're exactly the same as NASA's, they're just going to expand a little bit more. And you see him in his face later, someone on the space station goes, oh my god, it looks like Minions. So they're demonstrating the gas pressure. There's a beautiful shot because like I said, they've got divers bell helmets on, and there's a beautiful shot of the horizon of the ball Earth. in the bell thing. But the first image you see is a flat horizon with upturned edges. They then mess around with the camera angles and it forms a ball, and they do that twice. I found that very interesting, but it was noticeable. It was flat with upturned edges and then perverts into a ball.
Oh, hold on. Was this
Are
taken
you
from
saying
high
Fast and
altitude?
Furious took it to space?
I was going to
Telling
say,
you, bro,
is this a high
Roman
altitude?
snatches it.
Is it a shot or a CGI composite that they've formed the horizon with? Is the horizon actually a filmed horizon?
It's a composite. It's a reflection in the bell helmet. So you're looking at their face in the diver's helmet, and then you can see the reflection of the ball Earth horizon. Like I say, it's a flat horizon with upturned edges at the edge of the bell helmet, in the actual window, in the helmet. Really noticeably flat with upturned edges, and then noticeably goes into the funky Earth curve, but just tries to get there.
Okay. Are you implying that the reflection seen in the helmet is somehow a nod to some of the reflections caught in the NASA footage, and also a nod to flat Earth? Is that what you're implying?
Maybe on its own that one isn't, but as they're going up, I forgot the other guy's name, and they've got like rubber gloves on and stuff, you know, for the pressure and stuff. And Roman leaves over to him, "What the hell are you doing?" He says, "I've got a hole in my glove." He says, "Well, why are you wrapping it with gaffer tape?" He says, "Because everything's held together with gaffer tape." So, yes, I would suggest there is a nod there to NASA, fake space. Few
That's
noticeable
bonkers,
bits.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
going into space, I can't have a hole in my suit. I've got to wrap it with gaffer tape, you know?
Exactly. Oh, this is, by comparison, I've got a gas leak. Get us the gaffer tape. What? Yeah, we won't die. We won't be releasing flammable gas. We'll just gaffer tape it closed. It'll be fine.
You guys call duct tape gaffer tape? Is that what that is?
Gaffer tape. Because you go to the gaffer to get it.
Expensive, so you have to ask for it.
Right.
It's not your cheap tape. It's going to be held by somebody and signed out.
I went to Italy to ask for gaffer tape, and they looked at me. You know what it's called there? Chop. American tape.
It's what they used to tape up the Americans with.
Must have been. But yeah, gaffer tape's called American tape.
There was a recent incident where somebody got gaffer taped to a chair in a plane. Has anybody seen that?
I've seen T-Sparks. You know that bloke you sent us with the want to be in the pit crew. Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. I've seen his stuff, mate. Of it, it's hilarious.
That was a flight attendant on a flight, and they gaffer taped an unruly.
But was that him though? Was he just I thought he was just joking and taking the piss.
No,
That's what he does. He's a comedian, isn't he?
Yeah. No, the T-Spot was the comedic side of it. He just hijacking the news article, weren't it? I mean, some bloke did get taped down, didn't he? But yeah, Nathan shared that with me. That guy is properly hilarious. I love him.
Oh, look at this. I'm getting an invite out to somebody who lives locally. Unitox Femu says, "Happy birthday. It'd be nice to meet you. End of August, when my one tea, coffee, drink, food, whatever. I'm paying." Oh, well, I'll definitely take you up on that. If you're paying, steak for me. No, I'm only joking. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Unitox Femu. Yeah, we'll definitely meet up sometime as you're only in Coventry. No doubt. Right. Anybody else got anything to add? Forgot what we were talking about now.
No, but I got a question.
You got a question?
Furious now, mate. It's worth watching. But I'll stop rambling.
Somebody said they had a question. Go ahead.
Well,
Entropy, second law of thermodynamics. That's a natural law, correct? Natural law is a description, right?
Yep.
It doesn't formulate a cause. You don't need a cause.
No, it's not.
It doesn't postulate a cause, even.
No.
Well, so that'd be gravity as well. Natural law.
No. Gravity as a natural law is incorrect because it asserts 9.8 m squared down, right?
Yep. Yes. Down. Yeah. What it moves the. Yeah.
Right. Well, gas doesn't do that.
Well, then you got little g. It pushes out the gases out the way.
We're gonna have to get into this into the after
That'd be
show, aren't we?
buoyancy.
Cool. Okay. Got somebody claiming gravity. That's wonderful. Excuse me. Shout out to Brandon Toy. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. It says happy birthday. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. But with that, I am going to have to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you, first and foremost, to all of you who smashed the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Made my birthday a special one. So really, thank you very much indeed. I do appreciate it. Also, of course, a massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. Shout out to Chief Brody for hitting the super chat just after the live stream ended. He says, happy birthday, Nathan. Thank you very much indeed again, Chief Brody.